Hello.
Hi. Hello. Welcome to the recap of Put a Ring on It. You
Yes.
know who we are. And let's get it started. Go ahead, Misha, you start.
All right. So we just had the season we just had the season finale of Put a Ring on It. Yes. So there was I don't even know where to begin because we're seeing that there's so many issues. We're seeing Sean has his dad issues. We're seeing his financial dilemma, but they're still engaged. And then we have Jessica and Erica. There's still insecurities. They still have this tit for tat thing, but they're engaged. So let's start with Eric and Jessica. What did you think about that? This whole episode, what did you think?
This whole episode was really interesting or was really telling. I'm not surprised that they're engaged. You just gave me a little bit of tea earlier.
Yeah.
The sad thing is I don't think that they're ready to be married. I still don't think that they're right for each other. And I think that this is just gonna be, I don't want to say volatile, but I don't know that this is gonna be a harmonious marriage. And I think that this is gonna be for somebody, you're still not on the same page with a lot of things. Apparently I've got a runaway hair. You're still on at odds with a lot of things. You both have two kids. He wants another child, and it just doesn't make any sense. You don't want any more kids, which totally makes sense. You've already got two kids between you,
And
and
they're older. They're over 10 years old.
right,
So who wants to start over?
yeah. And I understand where she's coming from. I understand where she's coming from. So, and he's got to. If he was such that was such a deal breaker for him last week, and now this week he's like, "Will you marry me?" It was just kind of telling. It's almost like he wanted to do it just to keep the show going along. Like, this is the end of the show. Let's do the end of the show. Um, it was interesting his conversation and her conversation with Dr. Ponytail, because
Mhm.
I feel like he's still worried that things are gonna go back to where they were, and she's still worried that he's not hearing her. Like, she's like,
Right.
finally getting to hear me and understand what I'm saying. And he's like, I still don't know. I'm still not sure, and I don't know if it was you, but somebody, I was watching another review. They were saying he still doesn't trust her. He still does not trust her. Deep down, he still thinks this girl is going to cheat. And if he still has that in the back of his head, why are you going through with this? It's just to
Mhm.
progress the show. Um, the Their dinner was totally staged. I've been on enough sets, and I was like, that's a studio. And immediately I walked in, I was like, that's not even a restaurant. But so that was actually kind of funny to me. And then the next day, they went to the same studio to do the photo shoot. So I thought her dresses were pretty. I thought that that black dress, I was like, ooh, I wish I could fit that. I can't. I know I can't. But I was like, but I thought her dress was cute, and it was on brand for her. That's the type of dress that's her brand. But I didn't understand his outfit. I didn't understand the leopard print over the red polka dot. I
Did you
didn't.
see the nails though? Did you see the nails?
Her nails? His
His
nails? I did
nails.
not.
They
What?
were freshly manicured with like I don't know if I don't want to say it was a shimmery color. It was clear. you can clearly tell there was like some type of polish that was, it looked, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
did not see the nail.
It stood out to me. It grabbed my attention. I was like, what? There's
I was
nothing
so
wrong with the man
distracted by
getting a manicure, but it looked like it was, there was like a pot, like you can, it wasn't clear. It wasn't a regular clear. It was some type. I think he knew they were gonna do like a close up of his hands, so he made sure Leilani hooked them nails up. But
that is hilarious. Yeah, I did not. I was so distracted by the leopard print sweater over the tight sweater over the black
red
and
shirt.
yeah shirt. I was like that, and then the red shoes. I was like, there, you just look silly. Just take the sweater off. Like, I don't just at least be either matchy or I was like it was giving me a lot of it was just giving me a lot. I just don't understand. They still have such like big communication issues, like
Mm-hmm.
serious communication issues that they need to talk about. That like people get married with family issues, and him having issues with his mom, and actually his issues with his mom is understandable. Totally
Right.
get it. Um, that's not necessarily surprising to me, but is she number one in his mind, and in the relationship, and the yeah, that whole thing. Going back to the actual, I skipped ahead. Sorry, fam, but sorry, people, but the the exit the exit date with Leilani. He kept saying to Leilani, and he has been saying this for the longest time. You know, I appreciate that he was very honest, and he, you know, I think I need to go back to, you know, dating my girlfriend. I really want to go back to her. Thank you. You have really shown me what I really want in a relationship, and you've really helped me. I didn't understand his little exit speech. That was off to me. Yeah. And right after she was like, touch my body and like dance
She
with
was on her
me.
Mariah Carey. I was like, what?
Exactly. She was on her Mariah Carey. So that whole thing, I just didn't understand that. So go ahead. What were you thinking?
Someone that, now that you mentioned that, someone had pointed out that when he's around Leilani, he's happy, he's smiling, he's cheesing, but when he's around Jessica, it's not that same energy. He almost looks mad or annoyed by something when he's around her. So I kind of, and people, like I said the last episode, the fact that Leilani kind of embodied the femininity more than Jessica, because Jessica can be so hard, and it's so like hard to communicate and so hard to pull those layers off of her. So I think I kind of feel that he was interested in Leilani, like even when he said physical touch is his love language, Leilani did that. So I think it was that her femininity, because she wasn't really offering more depth than Jessica. So I think she kind of fit his needs, I saw. And I feel like with Jessica, I feel like he proposed because people have this mentality, you put this girl through so much, you gotta marry her. So that's how I kind of felt with it. And it was kind of put out there that this is their second time being engaged, which they didn't show on the show, but they were engaged before, then called off the engagement. They took a break, came back together. Now they're on the show to try and get married again, which was interesting because they literally shaped Ashley and Hollywood from season one. Their whole storyline was that. So I don't know if they didn't want to be repetitive, but I thought it was interesting that they didn't show that on the show. But yeah, they it's like you see them having this heart to heart the last episode, and there's obviously still things there that they need to work on, but just to see them engaged in the next episode is kind of, and it was very staged. There was no suspense at all. Like even in season one with the photographer and the girl, I cannot remember, I can never remember that girl's name. I think his name was Vince, but her name I can't remember. But theirs was so cute because it was like they're at a picnic and I had no clue he was going to like propose to her. Then the family came. It was cute, but I felt like both the engagements were so stage. It's like if I know what's coming, you had to know what's coming. So yeah, I didn't like that aspect that it was so staged. But
Tia had a question. Tia had brought up the same thing you brought up a couple weeks ago. That why don't people give Leilani as hard of a time as they give Kai? She was just as forward as Eric, as Kai, as just as forward with Eric as Kai was with Darian. I don't know. I just feel like I agree that she's very forward. It's almost like she was more smooth with it. Kai was like just little.
she Kai came with the stripper approach with you want this lap dance or not type of approach. Leilani was a lot more subtle. She was more seductive with it, but people noticed it. I think because nothing like with Kai, it came out that something happened. So I think people notice it with Leilani, but at the same time they're waiting, like, okay, so did something happen? What like because I've seen a lot of comments on OWN in different places, like Leilani is a Kai number 2. She's Kai 2.0. So I think people definitely notice it, but because there's no proof
Right.
that something happened, they're not really going hard on her.
I agree. I think that because there's no proof and she's more smooth with it and she's very low key. And as you just pointed out, Eric, they said that he's just much more upbeat. I just think he's much more calmer and just much more, or maybe that's again what the camera is showing, that he's just kind of at ease and just like quiet or relaxed. But she's also has this quiet voice that since she talks like this, then he talks like this, and then he just like, and then she's just smooth with it. They might be messing around, but the way she went about it was definitely a much more smoother approach than Miss Kai. So definitely. I think that's what it is. I don't put it past Eric at all. But I
Me
think
neither.
So and then also when he left, he said, "Do you want to finish your drinks?" And she said, "No, I think I'm gonna go." I think that's the end of the date. It's the end.
What you need to sit there for?
Yeah, we need to drink with you for. No, I'm gonna go. You finish your own drink. And so I appreciated that she's like, I did what I was supposed to do. Now it's time for me to go, and that's it. So I actually didn't dispute what you were saying as well about the fact that she has like this femininity, and I think Jessica is very feminine and very pretty as well, but it's just a different side, Yeah. What did you think about their conversations with Dr. Ponytail? And I wonder if LaRonda and Sean even had a conversation and they didn't show it, or
Sean actually, when he went live and he said there were things they didn't show that he was surprised with even Sean and Vince from season 1, because he got the wife's approval blessing from the father, and they didn't show that on the show. And Sean kind of had the same ordeal. Like there was a lot of things that went into the proposal that they didn't show. There are a lot of things this episode that they left out. So that could have been one of them, because I don't have anything against Lil Man, but his sessions were kind of repetitive. They were kind of always going over the same thing, so maybe they didn't feel a need for it. But I thought it was interesting, the whole having low standards and high expectations. I was like, that's that's deep. That's it kind of explains not just what is her name? Jessica's standpoint, but Alexia's too, because you're accepting the bare minimum, but then you're expecting a ring. You're expecting him to remember you on Mother's Day, but the bar is so low in all these other areas. So I thought that was like a really good talk.
Yeah, I thought that her analogy was really actually really good. You know, we tease her a lot, but again, she was firing on all cylinders this last one because I was like, explain this. I was like, where is she going to come through with the standards, point? And she really did. I was like, okay, she does, yeah. And so, what did you, and remind me? She said Jessica said I should have high standards, should lower my standards, and she said no, you need to keep your standards where they are, or something like that. Say it exactly how she said it, because she twisted it around. Do you remember how exactly she said it?
I don't remember exactly. I don't. I just remember the low standards and high expectations.
High
That's what I remember.
expectations, right?
Mhm.
And you need to have but high expectations. You need to expect a ring. You need to expect better for yourself. And I agree with that. I totally agree. And as you said, it really makes sense with Alexia. And I hope, and I think Alexia really liked Dr. Ponytail, Dr. Um, Nicole. Like they really, and I remember one thing I do remember on Kojo's show is that Kai said, "Oh, she's awesome." By the way, Kai did say that. Well, that's one of the things she
She
did say.
she
Besides,
did say that. It's like she wanted her session too. She yeah, I've heard her say that. She said she's awesome, but she wished she got to talk to her as well.
yeah, okay. So Monique said, I think she said your standards are too low for Jessica. Yes, your standards need to be higher.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. So I definitely think I did like that. I did like her analogy with that. Um, and I don't know. She just says these things to make you feel better and make them, feel like they can go forward with their next step. But are they going to keep it up? Are they going to keep it up? Are they going to have these conversations? Are they going to really open up with each other? I don't even think Eric wants depth because he didn't really get any depth with Leilani.
But he was all in, and it's like I I think it's maybe he didn't know how to articulate what he wanted, but I think it was just softness from her, that vulnerability, not
Right.
necessarily depth, but I think he wanted more vulnerability
I
from
agree.
Jessica. But
I
he's
agree.
not necessarily creating that space for her
He's
to
not.
be that.
No, he wasn't creating a space for her to be vulnerable. But he definitely feel like he wanted a vulnerable. He wanted just her to open up because I feel like when she was talking about her parentage and her mom and all that whole thing, that's when he was like quiet and he just sat there and listened.
Well, I don't know if you picked up on it. I didn't pick up on it until I rewatched it. But she kind of called him out a little bit, so I don't know if he was in his head about that. Because she said, I don't know. She's like, I know you're joking when you call me a hoe, but
Yeah,
because of my mother, it's blah blah blah. So it was kind of, you saw his face kind of tense up because he probably knows that if people hear that I'm speaking to you that way, that's gonna get some backlash.
right. No, I mean you think you're being funny, but you're not, but
Hmm.
that's not cool to call anybody a hoe. But and he must have been doing it when they first met. Must have been they must have been doing that banter, calling each other,
They I
names and
follow Jessica on Instagram. They were even doing it on their story. She shut your hoe up, la, la, la. They both would like banter, and she was rocking with it. So if that hurts your feelings, if that touches a spot for you, why are you engaging in it?
right.
So I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
stop laughing. It's not funny anymore. You can't be okay with it at one point, and then now that it's a little, 4 years later, I'm not okay with it anymore. You have to let them know, I'm not okay with this anymore. It was cute when we started, stop doing it, and I gotta stop calling you the names I'm calling you. Especially,
Mhm.
and then you never know that it might slip out around the kids. If
Exactly.
you're doing it just between you two, the kids might hear it. That you kids are so smart.
They
You think they
are.
don't hear nothing? They hear it all. So
They
yeah,
do. They definitely do.
definitely. So so what did you think about the photo shoot? Tell me about this photo shoot, because
It was just so staged to me. Like every encounter, like to me, I like so I always pictured my engagement. I'm crying. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so surprised. But I feel like for all of them, it's like, okay, here's the engagement scene, action. And they're there. So it's so cliche. It's like everyone had to see it coming. It was just so even when she's like, oh, he took me here for my business to take photos for my business, and then he walks out with this out. It was just I was literally like doing other stuff while this is on because I'm like, this is so it's boring.
it was
And
boring.
we had the manicured fingers on the box.
I'm so
I was
sorry I
like,
missed that.
you gotta see it.
I
It was like
rewind that.
the fresh pearly nail polish. I was like, oh my God, make it stop. But
And I
yeah.
think just like you did, I think I just walked away and I just stopped paying attention. I was like, what is he wearing? And I just walked away. I said, what? I don't even. So yeah, it was so staged. It was, and I was like, oh, when they were at the dinner, I thought he was going to do it, and he
Mhm.
didn't. And I was like, he didn't ask her to marry her, okay. And so then you have the photo shoot. I was like, come on, guys, like we're smarter than this. And then you meet the
Right.
photographer, and he's got the clothes, and then he comes with another sweater on, and I was just like, come on, guys. And so yeah, so
Mhm.
what it felt like his heart wasn't really in it. I don't
Right.
understand why he decided to propose, and why did she agree with it? Yeah. Did she agree to have a baby? Yes.
Did she agree?
I Did she agree to that, Tia? Because I know that she was like, we'll talk about, did she just say, well, we'll have to have a conversation about that, we'll think about that, or something like that?
I think she said if we're married, because I think her whole point was we
Oh.
need that stability before I'm a mother again. Because I think for her whole thing was her kids she wasn't married with her other children. So
Yo,
I'm having one, like I need to be married.
they toasted to the fifth child.
They did, they toasted to it, but again, they're not married. Even now, they're not married. I think they're still engaged. So that's
Yeah, they
another
toasted to baby number
thing.
5. That whole dinner scene was annoying the hell out of me too. So I probably fast forwarded past that or went to play with my dog. I couldn't.
I do remember that, but I also remember her thing was I need to be married in order to do that. And
Now I
that
remember her
brings me
saying
to
that.
the point of, do you think either one of these, yes, they're engaged, but do you think either one of these couples will actually get married?
I think that the Rhonda and Sean will I have more faith that they will before Eric and Jessica. I don't, but I truly don't think so. But if either of them were to, it would be the Rhonda and Sean
Mm.
before
Who's
Jessica.
paying for the wedding though? You think LaRonda's gonna, I think she's fronting the bill for her ring, but is she gonna take on the whole
They're
wedding?
gonna go. Oh well, isn't tradition for the bride's father to pay? What's Sean gonna do? He's gonna um, give the tradition excuse because he don't got no money because he's not a.
Yeah. I already know LaRonda. LaRonda ain't gonna stand for no long engagement.
And,
So
and but she's also not going to stand for not wanting what she wants, like
Mhm.
having, the right wedding. Like if she wants something a certain way, and yeah, she's not going to stand for going half-assing it. She just doesn't. I don't get that from her. Yeah, I agree. I think that if anybody does, it'll be them too. It'll be Sean and LaRonda. And I don't think Sean wants a long. Well, no, I don't know about that because he's got so many issues. Yeah, I don't know about that. Because there may be just something, I don't know for sure. Like something's always going to come up with him. He's going to be crying in a corner. It's just, I don't know about that. So yeah, they had really good conversations with Dr. Ponytail. They had everything was progressing well, but the whole thing with Eric and Jessica was so staged, and it was just to put a button on the end of the show. That's what I got. That's the impression I got. Hmm.
So
Okay.
what do you so do you think the having for us let's move on to Sean and Rhonda now. So the engagement is at the spot of their first date. Do you think that's romantic or cheap?
I don't want to say it wasn't romantic. It wasn't cheap. I know where they were at. Andretti's is
Hmm.
not cheap. So so one, but I do think it was cute. I think that he was reminiscing on the first time that they got engaged. It was sentimental. So I don't think it wasn't not romantic. I thought it was sweet. Um, it was more sweet, not romantic. But I said that's sweet, that's sentimental, that makes sense, and
Hmm.
it wouldn't have been horrible to me. There are definitely more romantic spots, and there are definitely other things he could have done. But also, Andretti's has, like, where we saw the parents come out with the cake and everything. They have all these back rooms that people dress up and do this whole thing. So it was very sweet to me. It wasn't um, a cheap way to go, and it wasn't like it's not like he didn't think about it. He went that route. It's on the same route to me as, and I'm that's not my taste, but those people do the "Will you marry me" on the jumbotron at a game or something like that. That's not my taste, but that's not horrible to me. But I would even have picked the Andretti's before I would pick the jumbotron at a sporting event. So it was sweet. It was sentimental. It wasn't horrible to me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if more thought was put into it than versus Jessica and Eric's. And it's sad because there is like an issue with the family. So maybe that's why he couldn't include the family as well. But yeah, well, Shauna Rondas definitely seems sentimental to me. I think even the whole family aspect was cute. I always think about like during proposals, like what is going through the guy's head because I know they're nervous. The fact that he went through that whole go-kart thing and won and still had to do the proposal. I was like, that's dope.
Right. I remember we were watching on Kojo show and people were saying, "Did you see her face? She just looked out of place, or she just didn't look happy. She wasn't excited or anything like that." And I guess on their live after the show, she was surprised because she had told him, "If I do get engaged, I want my family to be there." And then her family comes out. So I was like, okay, so he did think about it. I did think that was really sweet. So he did, and he did put some things in place to give her what she wanted. Yeah, she didn't look unhappy to me. She just looked like this is what's going. She didn't look unhappy to me, but other people were saying, yeah, her face did not show that. Yeah, she looked happy to me. She was like, oh, yeah.
Someone said people were saying she said, I think so, or something when he proposed. And I was like, I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that.
But she said, that's what she said on her live, that she said, one, his proposal speech was so long that because when he first started talking, she like, oh, here it comes. But then he kept talking and he didn't get on one knee. So she's like, where is this going? Like, what is he doing?
Now that I agree with. And I also think that it didn't look as staged. It looked really like more natural. It looked more natural. They let's go have a good time, and then like he starts talking, and I'm like, man, get on your knee. Like I was like, just do it already. So, so we're all in the audience, like watching this, knowing what's happening or what's about to happen. And she's like, "What the heck are you doing?" She's probably thinking, "Let's go play some more games until he gets on his knee." So, go ahead. So let's go
I
back to
agree. Hmm.
yeah. Let's go. So Tia was saying LaRonda will pay for it, and she won't mind paying for it. She has already told us doesn't mind being the breadwinner and footing the bill, which is really sad.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Right.
Do you think do you think LaRonda is settling?
I I feel she is settling because I think she deserves so much more as far as stability, like being with someone that's mentally, emotionally stable, not just the finances. I know people like to focus on that, but it's more than just the finances. But at the same time, I feel like part of settling is part of it knows that you want more or that there's more, someone else can offer you more. And I don't think she feels that. I don't think she feels like she's settling. I think she's content with Sean. I think she's happy with him. And so it's kind of like that whole if you like it, I love it. So because I don't think she thinks she's settling. I think she likes the setup they have because like we said before, she likes that control. She kind of likes being the head of the house, so to say. But I think she likes the way it is.
You know, it's so interesting. You said the word, you said content. Is content enough? To me, I feel like I mean, you're right. I
Mhm.
do believe that LaRonda is happy with the way things are, and she's happy with her extra sensitive man. And he's probably a lover in the bedroom. All of these things that we have not seen yet. But is he ambitious enough for her, who is, you know, very ambitious, corporate, and all of these other things?
Mhm.
And um, to her, she's not. To her, she is not settling. So I'm
Right.
happy for her. I thought the wedding. I mean, I thought the engagement was really sweet, and I didn't think anything wrong with it. Um, but do you think that, like, maybe in 5 years, she may be thinking, well, what about this person? What about that person? What else is out there?
I it really depends. I think it depends on children. I think that'll
Mm.
really be the breaking point in whether she's really happy with him or not. Because if she has a child and then she realizes, wait, he's a child too, and now I have two kids and I'm trying to keep my career and raise this newborn, but then I got to take care of this adult. So I think that will let her know whether she's like really settling or not. I think having kids, because that brings on different responsibility and that'll bring out even more of his characteristics.
I think you're absolutely right. And when you say it really depends on kids, I thought in a different aspect. I thought if she does have kids, then that's going to be she's going to be more amped to stay. But no, you know, one, I don't think that she believes that I have to stay for the kids. That's very antiquated thought. And two, if she's somebody that's carrying more of the load, and then she's got to care for a two kids, that's not going to be okay with her.
If
And,
we can cut right now to, did you see the reunion trailer?
yes, I did see the reunion
And
trailer.
did you see the comments Sir James made about Little Man thinking that Sean was LaRonda's son?
Yes,
What did you think about that?
girl. First of all, First of all, I like Sir James. I always like Sir James. But one, he's right. But Sean doesn't see it that way. And no matter what, unless somebody else is going to point it out to him, he's not going to see it out that way because LaRonda's not pointing it out to him. But one, man, you're a comedian. At least roast him back. At least say something back. You don't have to throw blows. You don't have to throw hands. At least roast him back. Two, LaRonda laughed. LaRonda gave a chuckle after it, and she may have been just laughing at the situation. But at the same time, she laughed and like put her head down. To me, that looks like you're not backing up your man. That means that you're not backing up Sean. And she should have just not said anything, or she should have whispered in his ear, "Don't say anything, just leave it alone," or something. But she laughed, and I said, that means that you don't have your man's back. So that to me was very telling. It was true though, because also Sir James at the bowling alley, he said, I had somebody breathing down my neck. So it wasn't like he was shy about it. He was very honest about it that the same day. He was like, yeah. And so she was like, not breathing down your neck or something like that, she said. And I was like, if he's already saying this now, he's definitely going to have something to say. Sean, just come back with something. Come back with something. And
I think Sean was really like in his feelings. Like we saw him on the couch of that PB&J doing those push-ups and those pull-ups. So he has the muscle power to take Sir John or Sir James. But I think he does have a temper. So I think him not saying anything is kind of trying to control it and not let it get there. Because I'm the same way. If something bothers me, I'm just like, let me be quiet. Let me stay quiet. Because if I say something, I'm going to be ready to go.
Right. And you're right. I am the same. I've been that way too. But I think, and extra sensitive people, the people that they have a temper. They have I have a brother like that he's so nice. Mm-hmm. Don't get him mad. You know what I mean? Right. He's very nice until he's not. So I see that. I was just like, he was right. He'd already made the statement. I thought he was your kid, and Sean showed himself as being extra sensitive when, this is my love of my life. This is my, what else? He said 3 things. This is my queen, the love of my life.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't have to do that. We know, what he's here for. Yeah. You guys are having the conversation, but when you walk in serving up extra sensitive attitude, that's what you're going to get right back. So, I do know there are some men that will stay home, and perhaps that's the way perhaps that is what they will have. But Sean stay home. But Sean, if he truly wants to be a comedian and he wants to be a host and he wants to do all of these things, if he starts to really get on his grind and he thinks there's an audition or what have you, or he wants to travel and do shows, he's going to want to do that. But that's when he should be doing that now while she's working before they have the kids. Yeah. Yeah, that was rough, but I also saw LaRonda do a little laugh.
So let's just get into break down this trailer, since that was all really that happened this episode. But this trailer, so we have Mr. Smoke basically telling Alexia that her sex was trash on national TV. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's the part why I would have had to fight. I would have had to fight on that one, because you've known her for 14 years. How are you going to decide now that I didn't understand it? And not to mention the pink blazer and the pink shoes. And the floral shirt. I was like, what is going on? But what did you think about the whole Darius, Alexia, Kai snippet in the trailer.
That's a whole mess. That's a whole mess. One, I did not the Hirachi, the pink Hirachis was killing me. I just I don't know, maybe he thought, oh well, let me get a stylist for my big debut. You know, the last 3 minutes of my 15 minutes is almost out of here. So let me get some new Hirachis.
Right.
Some Hirachi slippers. So that whole thing, like you said, this man talking about this woman bedroom activities was just crazy. And you want to insult her. You want to insult her to make yourself feel better. And as you said, they're in a studio with all these people around. Like, what is she supposed to do with that? Like, I was like, oh, really? After 14 years, you're telling me this now? You had plenty of women. You did not have to have this show manufacture a date for you. If it was trash, then you could have went on to the 5 other women that you found that we've been looking at, that have been talking about you. Oh, I've been dating him since 2019. Oh, he's married to a Nigerian princess. Oh, this, that, and the other. If it was so trash, why didn't you go to them? You know? And why keep keeping me on? Why have me on the line? I know that she's been fitting the bill for some things, for the mortgage for the condo and different things, but he did not have to do that. It was it's not surprising though, because he's anyway. But the conversation with what's her name? Kai is what was interesting. I want to say, and they cut these editors. I need to get their number, because Kai said we're in a relationship, and the next thing you know, he does his and they walking down the hall, and she's ready to fight. Because Darian likes to talk, and Darian likes to say these little things. Darian likes to say these hurtful things that are like a gut punch. And then now she's ready to fight. So I'm like, what did she say? What did he actually say to her to say, I don't want Alexia no more, and I don't want you. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So
the thing was, so they could have chopped it up. They showed Darian laughing and they showed Alexia laughing at her. It would look like they were laughing at her saying that, and then you see her get up and walk off. There could have been more that played out, but that's how they chopped it up for the trailer. And it seemed like, because even the host says, can't you tell? Like, he's been lying to her too. Like, so it's okay. So a lot of people feel like Alexia deserved to laugh or deserves to be petty. And my whole thing is, y'all were both used and lied to. Like, Alexia was in rotation just like Kai. I know the show tried to paint it like Alexia and Darian were this couple, then Kai came and ruined it. Right. But it's been messed up. That does not excuse Kai. But I'm saying, if it wasn't Kai, it would have been somebody else. So there was a lot of, and people may not know that, but Darian had these women in rotation. He had a woman paying his rent, a woman paying his car note, a woman paying for studio time, a woman paying for his business, for his t-shirts. So he has these women in rotation to get what he wants out of them. So to try to be petty, tit for tat, and act like you're going to get one up on Kai is a waste of time, because there's no winning in this situation. Neither one of them can win with this type of dude.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that Darian went below the belt. I'm not surprised that he just wanted to just stick it to her even more. It was just, it's horrible. And yeah, why are we surprised? His lashing out is because he lost his financial safety net in Alexia. He lost one of his financial safety nets. And now he sees her going on to Instagram saying all this stuff.
He calls her every day. That's what she's saying on her lives, that he is still calling her.
Right. So yeah, and then Misha was saying Darian told us, okay, so this is interesting. Darian told us early on that he and Alexia had an issue with sex before he said he wanted more. He didn't realize he said it was trash. So sad. So I think T is talking about the conversation in the bathroom when she was in the bathroom and he's sitting on the bed, and he said he just felt like he deserved more sex. He said he felt like he
He
deserved
said
more
more
sex.
sex, but in the
Right.
trailer, he said they're not having good sex.
Right.
So there's a difference. If
I
if
agree.
it's just the amount of time, that's different. But the way he put it at the reunion, and at the reunion, Kai was sitting there, so maybe that was to again pump up Kai, like he's been doing this whole season, saying going back to Kai, saying things about Alexia.
So yeah, okay. So Monique's what bothers me is Alexia acting like she didn't know about all of his women, and defending
Exactly.
him. Now I agree with this. I don't understand. Were you just one of the other women in the stable? Were you just because all of these women keep coming out of the woodwork? Not just the two exes, the wife, the woman, the older woman that's the friend of the mother now, and Alexia and Kai. Like
Mhm.
that's 5, 6 women right there. So what
And she
is
claimed she had no clue.
right? She said she had no clue about the marriage for sure. I remember she said, I had no clue about this. I didn't see any of this paperwork.
And that's weird to me because he clearly had them in rotation. We have all these women coming out saying that they were in relationship with him for 10 years, 2 years. And a lot of these relationships were happening in 2019. So, and you claim you guys have been together. She said, I don't know if she said the last 3 or 4 years they've been together. So how did you not know? Unless the show just really forced you to accept that he's been doing this all along.
Yeah, like was she one of his main girls, or was she the one that was just more acceptable for him to go on the show with because the other girls wouldn't play out as well as Alexia, and she's the one that looked more um uh, amiable
Right.
to everyone. One of the girls that we saw, she said she knew what it was. She knew that I was dating him and he had other girlfriends. Um, but Alexia's story was just much more pleasing to the public. That's
Mhm.
what's interesting.
Yeah, because there's a lot of women that instantly jumped on Alexia's side saying, I've been there, I understand her, because I've been in a 20-year relationship or this amount of years. So maybe that is why they picked, I don't know.
No, I agree, and so and this is what is comparing me as well, Tia. So he's having his Tiger Woods
Not
moment
Tiger
because why didn't he
Woods.
know about all of his other women? Um, uh,
That
yeah,
was a lot of women, though. How was
yes,
she supposed to keep up?
she. The sad thing is, she wasn't supposed to keep. So okay, so Celeste said, "I'm wondering about the angles. I'm wondering about the angles they are playing. Which of them
Right.
chose to be on the show? That's what we've been trying to trying to figure out as well. Which of them? I think that, and somebody said it earlier in the chat that his cloud is almost over. He wanted his 15 minutes of fame,
Hmm.
whereas I don't think Alexia was necessarily trying to do all of that. So that's what it seems like to me. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's just very suspicious. But she didn't know for sure. Alexia said she had some suspicions. But here's this thing. They did play it off like they were in a relationship when he keeps saying stupid stuff like facts aren't feelings, or I'm sorry, feelings aren't facts. And then when she found all of this out. She was given a Oscar performance, man. She was crying. So, but maybe it was all staged.
I'm really, really wondering, like we've said before, all these women are coming out, but none of they're saying they're in relationships with him. They have receipts, they have so many details in their relationship, but none of them are mentioning Alexia, which makes me wonder, was this Alexia and Darion thing just for the cameras, just to be put on the show? And like you said, were they just great friends or were they really in this relationship? But her whole breakdown and reaction makes me think that, okay, possibly, but still, it's so much mess coming out. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, makes the show look more more sensationalism to the show, and yeah, Tia said yeah, yes, let my vote. I got my vote. Let's vote. Wait, okay, so Darian wanted the fame. Alexia knew he had cheated and got him to do the show to expose it. You got so oh, you think Alexia knew and had him knew he had cheated and Alexia got him to do the show to expose it. So Tia said, yes is my vote. I vote Darian. He wanted time to time in the spotlight. I think that's what it was. I think he wanted time in the spotlight.
Yeah, he did not come on the show for Alexia. He came on the show to get back in the spotlight. He's supposed to be on the Oval.
That is so. Did we break that tea to our people? Did we say that?
Did we? I don't know if we did. I don't think we did.
Y'all, one of the ladies, I don't know, was she a casting agent or just a good friend in production trying to get him a spot on the TV show The Oval?
All I'm gonna say is all these women go so hard for him. So hard for him to be successful, to put him on. It's ridiculous. Like one of the girls got him an interview with Tyler Perry, or not interview, an audition with Tyler Perry to be on the Oval. And now I watched the Oval and I'm like, where would he be? What character could he possibly be? Because he just don't fit in nowhere on that show.
It makes no sense. Is he? I don't know. Was he a butler? Like what? What? I don't.
Was he supposed to be Barry? That's the closest like character. I don't know.
Okay, and yes, Sophie. Kai looked genuinely upset at the reunion clip. And it really begs to one of Kojo's answers, one of the many that she didn't answer, was he asked her, "Are you guys in a relationship now? You have to wait till after the reunion." So that was what Egypt Shiraz asked her, and now they end up fighting down the hallway with his pink srirachas. So it was. Yes, yeah, that's. I'm just hearing about all of these other women. You're just hearing this now. Yeah, yes. There's
a lot of people. I guess I forget that because in my videos, people are so quick to be Team Lex, and there's nothing wrong with being Team Lex. I want to see her move forward. I want to see her do well, but at the same time, I just don't like the fact that she tries to act like she's in a higher position or better position than Kai. When she fell for the same lies, she was used just like Kai was. Like, he's a womanizer. He uses all of these women and he keeps them in rotation. So I just don't think it's right. I just feel
was
like
she used just like Kai, or was she used a little worse than Kai? Was she totally
no, she was
manipulated
used
for at
worse
least 10
than
years?
Kai. That's the thing too. She was used worse than
Yes,
Kai.
I agree. Okay.
She was used worse than Kai, but she's still trying to down Kai. She's still trying to poke at Kai like there's something to one up her on, and there's nothing to win out of this.
They're true. Now that is true. Who are you gonna? You're gonna win. That pink jacket is worth more than Mr. Darian. So there's nothing to win in this. Like you can do better. And this is like the old saying: you can do I can do bad all by myself. Like move on at this point. But I think looking at Alexia and seeing how she's got all of these things going for her, sorry. She's got all of these things going for her, and she's still stuck with him, and she's still stuck it out. Whether she was one of many, she's still stuck with it. And sometimes you gotta clean your closet out. Sometimes yes. So sometimes you gotta clean your closet out of all the old stuff, of all the bad stuff. And so that makes room for the new and the good and the better. So I feel like she got it worse because, to me, I don't know, Kai kind of knew what it no, I guess to me Kai knew what it was. Kai knew. And she knew she met this man on a show. Yeah, and like you were saying, she may have met him before, or they may have seen each other in town or whatever, but yeah, I feel like Kai knew what it was, but at the same time, let's spend time. Yeah. Let's put in the work. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think she was still lied to, though, because even for her to say we're in a relationship, there was and for him to, even at the closure meeting, my condo is your condo. There's a lot of things he was saying to her to pump up her head. There's a lot of lies he was feeding to her. I think at the beginning, she understood what it was, and then she kind of started to getting to know him and thinking, like, one of the, I'll say might be tea, but she has on OWN's social media, Kai's cousin is going around commenting, basically saying that Darian was telling Kai that him and Alexia broke up, that him and Alexia, like, he's leaving. It was kind of like that whole narrative. He was lying to her and basically to get what he wanted. But I think Kai knew how he treated the girl, Alexia. So I'll say that she knew that. I don't know if she was expecting better treatment. I don't know. And it is sad because we see this whole narcissist type of behavior. So that makes me, I don't feel sorry for Kai, but I can kind of see how she might have got caught up in it. But at the same time, I don't excuse her. I don't excuse her behavior at all. I just think that for Alexia to be going so hard on Kai and not Darian, it's mind-blowing to me. That's my real issue with the girl.
And in her little one-on-one, in her talking head parts, she was like, I don't blame the girl. I don't blame her. I blame him. She kept saying that, but then
her actions aren't showing that.
Right. But as we know, she's been in the DM. She's been sending this girl messages, and she's been doing the complete opposite.
Here's the thing I want to point out. She's even been calling Kai delusional. I'm guessing it's because the whole we're in a relationship statement at the reunion. But if Kai is delusional for believing Darian, but for getting sucked up in Darian's web, then what are you, Alexia? What were you for 14 years? So how can you call Kai delusional, but everybody should be on Team Lex? And it don't
well,
make
and
sense.
I think that's why and I think that's why she laughed at her when when Kai said we're in a relationship, and Alexia just broke out laughing. I think that's why she was like, oh, this girl's delusional. Like, you're not you are his whatever for the moment. And that's all you are to him. That's all you are. So let her be delusional. But I think that her taking that time, and she's really thinking that this is going to be more than it is, even. And I think that some of these other women, they're saying the same thing. No, I knew that he treated me more, he treated me better than the other girls because he talked to me more, or he did this more, he did that more. I think that maybe there's a part of Alexia that thought the same thing, that, oh, well, they are who they are, but I'm here in his life. So I think that she had that, she thought that anyway. And that's not the case. And let's talk about this girl saying this man was sitting on ready. The first moment he saw her, he said, "Oh, I'm cheating." Like he was not even double thinking a little bit. He didn't pull the Sean card at all. Sean was like, "I don't need it. I got what I want at home." He did not double think. He said, "I'm ready to go. Let's go. I want this girl." That's it. Yeah, this is I'm just wondering what is he saying? What is he saying to this girl that they're in the country?
Another thing I want to add. So after Kojo's interview, Little Blackwood, people were in my comments saying that Kai looked like she was having withdrawals during the interview. They were talking about her mannerisms, something, she was wiping her nose, I don't know. And there's already been allegations against Mr. Smoke that he has a substance issue. So then I know that Kai is a smoker. I know that much. I don't know about the other stuff, but I kind of feel like maybe that could be linking them together. Is the drugs, might be a little Bobby and Whitney going on, but yeah, that's that's what I've been hearing, but I really don't know, and that would kind of explain it, this messiness of it, because it really doesn't make sense.
Not Bobby and Whitney. So I was in Kojo's. I was sitting there watching, and she was not wiping her nose. She was definitely nervous. Well, I don't know the girl for sure. I wasn't sitting next to her, but I could absolutely tell just how many times she pulled on her hair, the stroking of the hair, just how many times, like she, I don't think that she's been. No, well, we all know that she was never. This is her first time interviewed by Kojo, but that type of interview, that get to know you interview. Right. I think that she was already on guard. She was like, this man's going to go at me. They've all watched this show that I'm the villain. So she's thinking that she's got to be on the defensive. I got that impression. And like, she kept doing like this, but like, I didn't get the impression that she had anything, that she smokes anything but weed. But, then now that could have, like brought them together, or hey, do you smoke, and that type of thing. But I didn't get that she was going through anything that would give her withdrawals. And I don't want us to we shouldn't assume that, because now smoke I would not be surprised about. Yeah, tons of women pull their hair when they're under pressure. Tons of women play with their hair when they are under pressure. She doesn't really know. She doesn't know Kojo's audience. She knows that he's a reviewer and that he's asked for an interview. That's it. And she probably did not see a lot of his past interviews that he asked these questions. He asked like qualifying questions. He asked, first. And he will get to the tea, or he will ask questions about the show. But I even think that she didn't even want to really talk about her upbringing and stuff like that. He always asks those questions. And sometimes those questions, not calm you down, but make you a little bit more comfortable to talk to somebody about the real stuff. If you talk about your upbringing and stuff like that, talk about yourself a little bit. Let's relax. And now let's get to the tea.
To me, she did seem nervous. And the funny thing is, because I follow her and I'll jump on her lives, and she actually, it seems like she does get nervous, but she's so outspoken and so kind of aggressive at times you wouldn't notice it. She
Right.
said at the Cheers to Closure meeting that she was very nervous. So, and I was like, huh? Because I was like, you seem mad to me. You seem like you were on 10, like you were ready to go after him and expose him. But she said, no, I was very nervous. I don't drink. But in that scene, you could see that she was drinking kind of to calm her nerves. So I think she does get nervous. I don't know if she was even familiar with Little Black Book, how he interviews or anything like that. It seemed like she wasn't. Even the comments with, I want to see what the comments are saying. I want to see. And everybody's like, no,
No,
just
you
sit
don't.
there
No, no, you did not want to
and
see the
focus
comments.
on the interview. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, to me, I didn't pick up that vibe from her. I just thought she was nervous. Like, even on her podcast, the podcast interview, she was a lot more calm. So maybe it was the fact that she couldn't see the comments, or she didn't know who was there, or maybe because it was a one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
recording, no visuals, just her talking. Maybe that made her more at ease, but she didn't seem like that on the podcast interview.
No, I agree. She was just nervous, and I think that she wasn't sure. I feel like she probably was on the defensive a little bit. If so, you're nervous and you're extra defensive because you know that you're going to be answering questions, and you not kind of, you look like you look real shady. You look real like, look like the villain and look like everything else that people are calling her. So she wasn't familiar with the show. You're
Mhm.
nervous, and this much attention so quick is probably taking her off guard. Yeah, this much attention so quick. I didn't get substance. I didn't get like um um big substance from her. I didn't get like substance abuser from her. I didn't get like anything more than read. I
Just the
believe that she
natural
probably was
stuff.
nervous. You know what? And a lot of people, when they are nervous, because they know that they're nervous, they talk slower. And have you noticed that, like, even at the dinner table, the Cheers to Closure table, she was like, I just, sometimes I feel like she talks slow. And I think that she was
And I think
talking.
that's a part of the reason why people are kind of lumping it together, because her and Darion, they have kind of the same,
He's a
like,
smooth talker.
yes, they both talk slow. It like their mannerisms, the tone of their voice, it's so similar that I think maybe that's why people are kind of leaning with that. But I that also made me think of why they click so much, because they are so similar. I see a lot of similarities between them. It makes sense how they would hit it off and have fun together. But yeah.
Yeah, and so Tia was saying, I feel for Kai. She did what she was supposed to do, and people are making her a villain. I don't think she's a villain. The premise of the show is the villain. Yeah, the premise of the show, you're going to be going out with these other men and women, and they're going to be flirting with you. They're going to be, touching you and doing all kinds of other things, and you're going to be tempted. So she did do her job. Um, no, she should not have slept with him. Uh, and I do think that the producers they had a hand in some certain aspects. I think like when he asked her about the hand, like she grabbed his hand and walked out, she said in normal time, no, I wouldn't have grabbed his hand like that. And I said, I wonder if she was told to grab his hand, like, if with the cameras on, and like really, like, she didn't just touch his hand. She like literally palmed his hand and said, let's go, and pulled him. And so I was like, like grabbing his hand like that. There were, that Alexia is right behind you. There were certain things that gave me the impression that some certain things were staged. But I do think Yeah, she played her part. She shouldn't have slept with him. It went too far. Um, but yeah, Alexia was kind of being, and that's what I want to see. And Egypt Shiraz is going to ask the question. You said it was after the fourth date, but you tell us what after what date exactly? Because I don't agree with that. After what date did you really sleep with him, or did it go further than it should have gone? Because to me, it was probably much sooner than that, and it just went too far. And but Alexi has been played way before that. Has been being played way before that. Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with Tia and Sophie. I I don't like how they're making her the villain when it's clearly Darion. It's like no one is really holding him accountable. He was in the relationship with Alexia, not Kai. Kai doesn't owe Alexia anything, and Alexia doesn't owe Kai anything. So I think I think this season is triggering a lot of women that have been in the same situation, and they feel like no, Kai should do this, Kai should do, and it's like that's and even she said I came on the show with the idea that you're either going to put a ring on it or leave the relationship. So I think that's another thing that Darian and Alexia both have to be accountable for. You came on the show where the premise was to date other people. And here's the thing, a lot of people have different um narratives of what dating is. Some people think dating is just getting to know someone and that's it, building that connection. Other people think dating is hooking up, going over their place and this, that, and the third. So maybe they should have clarified that with like the type of dating we mean.
So no, you're right. Certain people, other people have their rendition of dating. Not everybody has the same idea of what dating is. But looking back on their first date with Darion, he was doing all the talking. He was like, "You look like a rapper's girlfriend. You look like somebody I should be dating," and all of these things. It just looked like she was just there. I'm gonna really be honest with you. I got the impression that she was just there to do what she was supposed to do. She wasn't really interested in him. She was like, I don't even know what this is. So I'll go out with him. You know, this is what I'm supposed to do. And then more, oh yeah, I want to go out with Kai again. I want to go out with Kai again. So yeah, I just think he kind of he knew that he wanted her. He knew he wanted her from the beginning. Yep.
Chindy Alex has a great point that production didn't give her good picks. All her dates, not all of them. There was Monty, there was the trainer guy. Those two I thought were a good fix for her, but all the rest of them, I was like, why? Like, what were they trying to do here?
Right, I totally agree with that. I actually think the only good pick for her was Monty, and the trainer guy was very handsome, but I don't think that he was right for Alexa. Not, and I mean, of course, she wasn't supposed to be tempted. You know, Derry wasn't supposed to be tempted, but they weren't a good match. They were the guy was gorgeous, but they weren't to be matched. And the guy in the middle, the guy when they were at the double date thing, I was like, that's just definitely a no. So the only good one was Monty, I think. They did not give her good picks, and Darion just stuck his heels in. He was like, he met Kai, that was it. I'm gonna nail this one. I'm gonna nail this one down. Sorry, excuse me. I agree with him. I agree with you. And Tia was saying, you're right. Women are often held responsible for men's sticky behavior, stinky behavior. Yes, we're the one held for their stinky behavior. They want to behave like trash. You know. hmm Yeah, Monty was the one that played basketball. Monty was the one that he had one daughter, and I think she was older, and she played basketball, and I thought that was a really cool date. Hmm. Yeah, so it's this last episode, this reunion is going to be a trip.
It's gonna be spicy. I am ready for all of the tea.
I'm ready for it, and I think that the production asks these dates, these guys, to say things to the cast. I think that what's his name? I guess his name is Sean, or as well, that guy that was dating Jessica, that was all in for Jessica. He's gonna say a little something, and I'm like, why? That girl didn't want you. That girl didn't want you. So yeah, so I'm not surprised.
I feel the same because even what I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was something like if Eric wasn't with Jessica, do you think you would have a shot with her? He's like, yeah. I'm like, no, you wouldn't, because Jessica would walk all over you.
Yep.
Like Jessica wants certain things that Sean has, but at the same time, she likes Eric's rough exterior. She likes that he's kind of a no nonsense. In a sense, it's like she needs that. And Sean, I think he was too vulnerable too
He's too
soon.
sweet. He
He
was too
came
nice.
out just with this laying his heart all on the table. And I'm like, at least learn her name first. Like, what are you doing?
He had feelings after the second date on a hike. They were on a hike.
Right.
You catching feelings after the first date. They went to like a vodka, like a tequila,
Yeah.
tequila shots. I said, you feeling you get catching feelings that quick? Come
Hmm.
on. Yes, thank you, Celery. I agree, Crystal. It feels odd to hear the comments on the rejects. Yes, yes. Just we want to know where you're at now. Of course, we want to know about the Kai and that whole situation. But they have to. I'm just surprised it's going to be 1 hour. Thank goodness. I'm happy it's just going to be 1 hour. Please don't. I'm happy about that. But
Right.
with the Darien, it's probably going to be 15 minutes of the other daties, and the rest is going to be the Kai and Darion show.
Hmm.
Kai is, I repeat, is not the cause of their demise. Correction from the previous comment. Sorry. Yeah, no, she is not the cause of their demise. She should
Hmm.
have been that relationship should have been demised a long time ago. She is not Kai's fault. And like you said, Alexi will say that in her first live. She did a live with Dr. Ponytail and somebody else. I feel like it was one of the ladies from season 1. And she said, I don't blame the girl. I don't blame Kai. I blame Darian. She kept saying that. But then you want to get in fights and you want to get in arguments. You want to keep all the drama going on Instagram. Yeah. So I agree with you on this one. I think Jessica would want a man with more clout. Sean is too much too much of an everyday type of guy. Yes. He was just like a very sweet guy. Eric is the type that he will, be a little rough with her. Not rough, but tell her no sometimes and tell her no, this is how it's gonna be. But then she needs to put her foot down when it comes to a fifth child if she don't want, because she's the one that's going to be carrying the child. And I also think she thinks that she's going to be doing a lot of the work all by herself. Go ahead, Woody.
That's such a good point. It's like the single mom mentality. Like a lot of women have that. And even myself, I'm single, a single mother, and I'm like, oh, I want a man, I want to be married, blah blah blah. And then sometimes I'm like, wait, Misha, can you really accept a man into your life? And I've met other women in my same position where they were single mothers and then they got married, and that's their biggest hiccup is they still feel like they need to do everything by themselves, and their husbands are like, if you need me to do laundry, just I'm right here, you can just tell me and I'll do it. but they're so used to like doing everything themselves. Because honestly, you don't forget that pain, that burden, the tiredness, you don't forget it. So when someone says they want a kid, you're like, oh Lord, not that. Because you don't know what it's like to do anything in a team effort. So I definitely understand how him saying that, she's like, no, like, no, that's not gonna work. You're muted.
To your friend's point, I would be like, I shouldn't have to ask. You see the laundry piling up, just do the laundry, you know? So, but I gotta, and you want me to do the laundry, just ask me, I'm right here. Then get up and do the laundry if you're right here. So that's what I think. But see, at the same time, I'm single too, and I hear what you're saying. So, and then Thaddeus was saying, what is the trouble what is troubling, you're right, that is Smoke slash Darian is repeatedly humiliating Black women on TV and laughing about it. That's my issue with him saying that Alexia was bad in bed. Like, why did you find that fun to say that to her on national TV? You did not have to do that. If earlier in the show you said you deserved more sex, you one you didn't have to say that either, but that's better than saying that she wasn't good in bed. Like, why was that okay? You know? So I totally agree with you, Thaddeus. And why is that fun for you? Why do you get entertainment out of humiliating Black women? You know, first Alexia, now Kai, and now, you know, all these other women that we're finding out. Mm-hmm. Yes, Tia, like going back to Jessica and Eric. But go ahead, what were you gonna say? Misha, go ahead. Yeah, okay, so we're going back to Jessica and Eric. Remember he said he wanted a boy. Yes, he would take a boy with him all the time. He didn't say what would happen if it was a girl. I noticed that. I noticed that absolutely. He didn't say anything if it was and so she has two girls. So he must have two girls. We just know he has two kids. We don't know if they're girls or boys. So he wants a boy. He better like do some interesting positions and manufacture him a boy. Because that's it. Go ahead, Misha.
I said what I had to say. I'm good. You're muted. I didn't.
I didn't start reading these comments, so I'm so glad. I'm so glad. See, that's why we got to do this as a team. So, Seller, you think that Alexia had tricked him into being on the show? That's interesting. I would love y'all to comment and say who thinks it was Darian who tricked who? Darian?
No, I don't think either. I think Darian tricked Alexia because I think I've heard Alexia say on lives, Darian basically DM'd her the ad or something, or sent it to her, the information for the show, and said, let's do this. And she was like, what? Well, okay. So it was definitely Darian's idea.
And that's your answer then, because I've been watching her lives too, but I didn't see that part. But some of them I'm just like, what's this? And so that makes more sense to me. Even without seeing that, I thought it was Darian that asked her to do it, not Alexia. Why would Alexia want to be humiliated? Why would she think? Why would she? Why would she?
And to kind of say, I think I can kind of see how that would perk Alexia up into thinking now he's ready.
Now he wants to take the next step to getting married and solidifying our relationship. That makes more sense. That's interesting. That's an interesting take on it. Yep. Thank you guys so much for tuning
Yes.
in. This this was a great show. This was a great show. Next week is the reunion, and we're gonna be going live after the reunion at 11. Um,
Yes.
so that's gonna be, yeah. So we're gonna do it at Friday night at 11. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please tune in Friday night at 11. Um, Go ahead, Misha. Close
Yes.
out.
All right, so make sure you like the live. Make sure you are subscribed to Crystal Lynette and me, Misha Allen. Don't forget, Crystal Lynette has a discussion going on Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The I'll let you say the title because I
It's the
can't.
power of no.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Kia on, and I'm gonna have life coach Chris Natha on. Chris Natha is on Kojo show a lot, so and she does the reviews with Kojo a lot, and she is a great life coach. And we're just gonna be talking about us being, staying fast in our boundaries, and not just, a lot of times we as women, and men too, don't want to say no to somebody that, we just are so giving, and we're the most giving people, and sometimes we really have to know our boundaries. And Misha talked about that on the end of one of her shows the other day, that what I noticed, that I needed I needed to take some rest, and I needed to do some self-care. So do we actually listen to ourselves, and do we listen to our boundaries, and do we or do we just do for others so much, and not care for ourselves? So, and we're probably going to take it in a couple other directions too. So it's going to be a great show. My YouTube channel is crystal.lynette on YouTube. Yeah, so it's a great show. And that's one of my shows. And then I'm also going to be doing a show in September with Misha and Kia called CMK After Dark. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I also have a show on colorism coming up. So yeah, we got a lot of things coming. So please, so it's just crystal.lynette, or no, I'm sorry, Crystal Lynette on YouTube. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Do I have the book? Oh, buy Kia Simone's book, From Pain to Love. That's it. Thank you guys.